All right. New digs. I am in a new room. I kind of have my own little room now. It's kind of crazy. It's the first time I've had my own bedroom since I was a teenager. So, I'm trying to do some things to give myself a little bit of ambiance, just to keep myself calm. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about some things I've learned and some stuff involving my health. Since anyone who's been kind of watching regularly, not that I've been streaming regularly, but in the last month or so, I've been updating some things as to my health. So I figured I've got about 20 minutes to yap here before I gotta go and take care of some stuff. I figured I might as well talk about what's been going on with me and sort of what I'm planning for the future, at least with regards to Twitch. So, if I'm going to give you a recap, I collapsed on October 8th. Completely collapsed. Went to the hospital by the ambulance and got a couple CAT scans. They thought I had a stroke. I thought I had a stroke. But in order to kind of figure it out, you got to back up a couple months. I started talking to my doctor and some specialists about depression because I thought maybe I was starting to suffer from it in ways that affected work and everything I was doing, which manifested in some weird physical symptoms, something called psychomotor agitation. You can look it up. I thought I was having a manic episode, which doesn't really happen unless you have something like bipolar disorder. And, well, it all kind of came to a head until finally I collapsed. So what the doctor said was that I had something called conversion disorder. And I've said it here on the channel previously that it's kind of a controversial diagnosis for some people because it's rooted in, 19th century natural philosophy and what doctors used to think about the human body. And it's really chauvinistic, and it was used to be called hysterical syndrome. And if you know anything about the origins of the word hysteria, you know where that comes from, but I'm not going to get into that. I was told, no, you don't have that, you've got chronic fatigue syndrome by some people, but it's actually not true. I don't have chronic fatigue syndrome, I don't have any of that stuff. It's a functional neurological disorder where stress changes the chemistry of your brain, and your brain has a difficult time dealing with it and kind of decides to take a vacation. So it stopped connecting with my body, and I was paralyzed for about a month. Just because the doctors wanted to take some extra precautions and make sure after the 2 CAT scans that I had showed no stroke or anything like that, I went in for an MRI about a week and a half ago. Got my results back, talked to the doctor about it. They were going to check for something like MS, and I didn't know anything about MS. I know that I have a family member who's recently, like within the last few years, been diagnosed with it, and I don't really know much about it other than growing up it was like Montel Williams is the guy with MS, he's the celebrity and all that kind of stuff. Well, now I know a lot about it, and because that's what they were checking for, I read up about it and was prepared to talk about it with the doctor when I talked to him about my MRI. So they found white spots on my brain in the MRI. White spots don't necessarily mean anything. Apparently about 90% of people over the age of 60 have them and they're benign. But in my case, they show cell damage of the protective covering around the nerves that go from your brain to your spinal cord to speak to the rest of your body. It's called the myelin sheath. And that's what happens with people who have MS. It's an autoimmune disorder where your body starts attacking the wrong things and starts damaging the myelin sheath around your nerves. So, with that in mind, I didn't get freaked out. MS is a lifelong condition you've got to deal with. I don't have a diagnosis of MS because they only diagnose it if you relapse a lot, right? It's like a continuous thing. Their diagnosis method is let's wait and see if it gets worse. So I don't have a diagnosis of MS, but I might as well act as though I do, right? Because what I've been reading, the doctors agree MS is a progressive disease from the moment it manifests, even though MS progression is something that happens later on, and that's when your body stops being able to repair the damage that happens because of the inflammation. So, with that in mind, the conversion disorder and it's called demyelination, which may or may not be MS. I don't really care if it is or not. I'm going to act as though it is, which means I'm going to take care of myself and manage things as though it is. So, they call it comorbidity. Both things happened at the same time, which is why it was hit so hard. And what I've realized is, when you get stressed out, the cortisol in your brain, I mean, that's what I thought it was. Too much cortisol, my brain left. It decided to take a vacation. It's not just about reconnecting with my body, it's also about repairing the nerve damage. Comorbidity. I have 2 conditions, and I think the conversion disorder, I've pretty much got licked. But I've got nerve damage, and a lot of the stuff that I thought was the conversion disorder before was actually the nerve damage. I fixed the brakes on my car in my buddy's garage, and I ended up doing something silly and accidentally crashed my car into the side wall of his garage. I know now that a lot of this stuff was because I had nerve problems, and anyway, that doesn't matter. Point is, stress. Just like before, stress triggers conversion disorder, stress triggers inflammation. Inflammation triggers autoimmune response, and you can develop a disease. So I thought MS was one of those hereditary genetic things, so I was kind of worried about it if I had a family member with it, but no. MS, it's not, in the literature I've been reading, it's not conclusive, but doctors are pretty sure that it can be developed through stress. And I've realized through dealing with my ex-wife and some of the crazy, stupid things that she has said that I have done that I haven't, accused me of some of the most horrible things, has stressed me out so badly it's debilitating, and I've developed a disease. And when I look back on it, that stress has been chronic for more than 10 years. It's been a constant condition. I haven't been taking care of my mental health, trying new coping mechanisms to deal with stress, and because of that, I have developed this disease. You can do it too. Anybody can. You have to be so careful. You have to take care of yourself. And that's why I'm making these short videos, because I just want to talk about it a bit. I'm focused on my recovery. I'm about 90% there from like an acute perspective, like this particular episode. But the disease, I'm pretty sure I'm going to have to deal with for the rest of my life. The thing is that my plan is to never get that diagnosis, because I'm never going to relapse. Because I have put some coping mechanisms in place, and I have an outlook on life where I am not going to allow myself to be stressed like that anymore. You know? The inflammation is not going to hurt me in the future. So with any luck, with proper mitigation and a haircut, because I've been stuck in bed for almost 6 weeks, I won't have a relapse. You know, my MS will go into remission. That's how I'm looking at it. My goal is to make MS go into remission, even if I don't see that I've had it. So I'm taking a few steps. Number 1, I'm getting no contact order, which is kind of like a restraining order, but with a little bit different with against my ex-wife, because she doesn't care. She picked a fight with me on Halloween when I had my kids. While I'm sitting on the floor, unable to walk, she still picked a fight with me, accused me of lying to her about a bunch of stuff and endangering the kids. I was so worked up that night after she left that I had to calm myself down, because of that kind of reaction, that kind of stress, that kind of antagonism can set my recovery back. And when I recover from this episode, it can cause more inflammation. So maybe I shouldn't talk about legal stuff, but I guess I'm kind of anonymous. You guys know me as the Immersive Sinner, so whatever. I'm going to have to go for that. I'm going to get a no contact order. You know, it sucks with the kids, but she can email me details. If I have to get in touch with a doctor to learn about the kids, I'll get in touch with the doctor, not with her, not hear the information filtered through her commentary. I'm not going to stand for it. So maybe she'll finally get what she wants, and the two of us are never going to speak again. Because I have to stay healthy, and she can kill me with a word. So, not going there anymore. Anyway. So there's that. I've mentioned it in chat in a couple of channels. I feel kind of reluctant about this, but you know what? I'm just going to do it. I mentioned this on somebody else's channel, and they deleted my comment, and I'm not upset about it, because they didn't have a chance to check out what I was talking about, and they wanted to make sure it'd be safe, that people aren't, I was never going to use somebody else's channel as a platform for any kind of political junk. And of course, I made this comment while the election was going on and all this stuff. Anyway, I'm going to talk about it now because this is my platform. What the crap? Do I have a bot on my channel? Beast Pokemon 1234. Want to become famous? That sounds like a spam bot. Anyway, whatever. If you're not a spam bot, say hi. Okay. So, I have been practicing as best I can with my condition, the way it is now, the Wim Hof method. A friend of mine told me about it because his wife has an autoimmune inflammation problem that was ruining her life. He has injuries that cause chronic pain since he was a kid, and he told me to check it out, and I just had to let go of my ego and just try it because it seems so esoteric at first. But the fact is, he has gone to the scientist and be like, yeah, I've done all these things, and I didn't really care because I didn't care about the whole circus act stuff, right? Yeah, so he climbed Mount Everest in his underwear and swam under the ice without breathing and all this stuff, but I'm not trying to be a circus freak. I just want to be healthy. Well, he does that stuff to gain awareness for what he thinks can heal people. And I think he's right, because the doctors started talking to him, they started measuring him, putting electrodes on him, x-raying him, and they've got a large body of evidence that is now published in like the New England Journal of Medicine that show his method of breathing, meditation, training your body to be healthy really truly does work, and that you can take control, conscious control of your autonomic nervous system, your parasympathetic nervous system, stuff like that, because those are the things that cause inflammation, autoimmune, you get stressed out, stuff like that, your adrenaline, all that. I'm not going to get into it in too much detail, but I've been practicing it for 3 weeks, which is mostly just about breathing. You breathe far more than you think you have to. You oxygenate your blood because your cells are always exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide, right? Your blood cells with your muscle cells. Your mitochondria burn the oxygen, it converts into carbon dioxide, you breathe it out. Well, you store that stuff in your blood. And if you breathe more than you need, you're exhaling a lot of CO2. You're raising the pH of your blood. You're oxygenating your cells. And, the first time I tried his little method where you breathe, and then you hold your breath. And it turns out holding your breath is not difficult when your blood is full of oxygen. And I knew this. I was a band kid. I played the oboe. The oboe takes no air to play. And when you're playing a long phrase, you start getting that panicky, you have to breathe because you're holding your breath basically, right? Well, if you just breathe out, even because your lungs are still full of air, but your blood is full of carbon dioxide because your cells, the whole time you've been not breathing because you're playing an instrument, has been exchanging oxygen and CO2 with your cells, right? Now your blood is full of CO2 because it's not in your cells anymore, and your nervous system tells you need to breathe. So what I would do, and what I was taught to do playing oboe, was instead of taking the time, because on a breath, you need to be really fast and not make a big deal out of it. If you had to breathe out all of the air in your lungs and then fill them up again, it would take too long. So what you do is you would just exhale half of what you had in your lungs. And then you could play another really long phrase of music without taking a breath. Because your brain can measure the content of CO2 in your blood and realize that it went down because you exhaled a lot of that CO2-rich air that's inside your lungs because your cells transported it from your blood cells, transported it from your muscles into your blood and then into your lungs, right? Anyway, there's science behind it. So the leap of faith, it was only the beginning, right? You just have to try it. And then I did that, and it's been working for me so well, to the point where I think for the future of the stream, let's see, what have I got, 6 minutes left before I gotta go? One of the things I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to be doing my breathing exercises and meditation every morning anyway. Might as well do it on stream. If you want to, you can come with me and breathe with me. Maybe it'll be silly. I don't know. I'm probably not going to do it just by myself, but if 4 or 5 people are there, if my numbers get up a little bit, then I will do it. Because I'm going to do it anyway. And I think Wim would want the word to spread around. I'm not going to act like I'm some sort of an instructor, because he has instructors that get certified and train people. It's not me. I just want to breathe. And if I can breathe with some people and help you feel the effects, I'll put in the effort. First time I did it, I couldn't hold my breath at that retention point that he talks about because I was giggling. You release emotion doing this. You release so many things, and I have fought back. I know now that my depression has turned into severe depression. I just lost a family member this week. He didn't make it. He didn't win that fight. And a lot of my family is really having a hard time with it. I do not have suicidal ideation. It's not something I've ever struggled with. But with the way this illness has developed and how it has dragged the depression along with it and intensified it, I could see it from where I was sitting. And it's irrational, it's despair, it's darkness, and you can't get yourself out of it. I needed someone to talk to. 2-3 minutes, and I went from a 2 to a 7 on a scale to 10 as far as mood. And 1 is the dangerous place where you don't want to be. The next time it happened, I could feel it coming, and I breathed, and it went away. I breathed a lot. I breathed for like 20 minutes with the Wim Hof method, but it went away. And if he can take people with Crohn's and with MS and chronic arthritis and cancer to the top of Mount Kilimanjaro in their underwear in the snow, then I'm not worried about my condition, because I'm going to keep breathing, and I'm going to follow his example. I'm going to just love people and get rid of the stress, the things in life that are killing me. And I'm going to start streaming again, because this is fun. It's not fun talking about how sick you are on stream, and I'm going to put this video up on YouTube as well, because I'm just starting out. I was streaming for like a month and a half before I collapsed, doing some alien isolation on my Vive. It was fun stuff. I enjoy it. Not a lot of people watched, but a couple of nights I had a couple people jump on and were like, oh, this is awesome, and they enjoyed it, and that made me happy. Since I've been sick, stuck in bed, I've been watching a lot of Twitch, some people I really like, and it's been like having friends, having a family to help me through. To stave off some of those symptoms of the severe depression, that monster that comes for you in the night that you can't fight on your own. Anyway, so I want to get back into this. I have a space. I have a fancy little lamp. Woo! Helps me sleep at night. And, my coordination isn't quite there yet. I can't play twitchy stuff. But I had some old stuff in. I was going to play some King's Quest. I decided not to because I got kind of bored. I played a little bit of my own. But I have decided what I'm going to do. There's a couple things I'm going to do. Number one, when I get into streaming games again, which might be within the next week or so, I'll see if I can come up with a schedule and stick to it. I'm going to start with the old Sierra classics like King's Quest. But instead of King's Quest, we're going to do Quest for Glory. And we'll go through all of them. Even the ones that have the old EGA graphics. Quest for Glory 1 was remade in VGA, and we'll play the VGA version of that. I've read all the guides that tell you the difference between, I think the VGA version is the way to go. Quest for Glory 2 is EGA, and we're still going to play it. You got to type commands in. You can walk around the screen by clicking, but if you want to talk to something, it's like old school adventure stuff. You got to type it in. Talk to the name of the person, go. It's going to be fun. It works. You can get them on GOG, so I did, and they work in ScumVM and DOSBox, and it all works. So let's do that. To continue that idea, before I get back into streaming some more modern stuff, like Alien Isolation with my headset, right? Jurassic World Aftermath and Deathground are going to come out. Jurassic World Aftermath is a VR title. Deathground I don't think is, but I'll be playing that. Whether or not it's in VR doesn't matter, because I love horror games and survival horror. But you can see over my shoulder here, there's a desk back there. My parents still have my childhood computer in the corner of their basement. It's an IBM Aptiva. I believe the model is 2176. Came out in like 96 or something. We bought it back then. Pentium 166, 16 megabytes of RAM. Awesome stuff. They still have it. They've got everything. They got the 14-inch CRT monitor. They got the original speakers and stuff. I've got some I got some stuff here. I'll go grab it. I can show you because I can walk now. I can fucking walk. Okay, I got like 1 or 2 minutes here. How's that for some old stuff? Right? Journeyman Project, Sam & Max, Star Crusader, Dark Forces. These games will all run perfectly on that machine. Journeyman Project, tried to run it on this computer. Windows 10 won't work. Journeyman Project, a Windows 95 game. 16-bit. You can't run 16-bit applications on Windows 10. Some other stuff, it's got like an integrated ATI chipset from way back then that runs a specialized version of MechWarrior 2, and I've got the disc. Can't wait. Anyway, I've even got an old Gravis pad somewhere with like the MIDI port, plug it in. I cannot wait. We're going to screw with that. We're going to restore it. I've even got like a Sound Blaster Audigy 2 that I can fit into it, even though the Audigy 2 is like way newer than that computer. I'm sure we can get it to work. Get a bitchin' sound card in there. Play some old DOS games. Yeah, so I'm going to play around with that. And I hope if you find that interesting, you'll join me and we'll have some fun with it. Stay safe. Deal with the things in your life that cause you stress. You can't afford to let it build up because you'll get sick. And you might develop something you don't want to have to live with, like I have. And you'll have a stupid haircut and your beard's going to be all untrimmed and scrangly. Alright. Have a great day. I'm sure I will finish dealing with the Twitch stuff. I'm still kind of having a hard time figuring out how to work my Twitch channel as far as, you know, the panels, the schedule, about all that kind of stuff, messing with that, making sure I understand how to use the chat and how to read to know who's in. Obviously no one's in here right now, but that's okay. Have a good time. I'll be around. Have fun, guys. Let's play some retro stuff coming up. And stay healthy.